I tore the billion-dollar tender proposal to shreds with my own hands, but dialed the CEO of the multinational conglomerate in the midst of all the jeers. Honey, 3 years ago you said as long as I was willing to bow down, the whole of Trotta would be my birthday present. When the door to the ballroom was pushed open by black-clad bodyguards, the man known as the tyrant of the business empire got down on one knee to put on my shoes, and my brother and fiancé, holding up the proposal ring for their green tea girlfriend, looked as pale as ghosts under the flashing lights. After returning to Berkshire, I never expected the first familiar face I'd see would be my former best friend, Ann Miller. Ann Miller, CEO of Miller Company, entered Berkshire's top university at 18 with outstanding grades. After graduation, she started from scratch and in just 3 years became one of the business world's rising stars. On the first floor of Westfield Building, a TV screen between 2 elevators continuously displayed the achievements of Berkshire's business prodigy since she started her career. In the 3 years since I'd seen her, she had shed that timid, insecure air of someone fresh from the countryside. Now, dressed in custom-tailored formal wear, she carried herself with newfound elegance. Wealth truly transforms people. Today was the bidding conference for Trotta Corp's project in Berkshire. Reporters had been staking out the lobby since early morning. I tried to mind my own business and ignore her, but she approached me anyway. Miss Turner, it really is you. I almost didn't recognize you, she said loudly. 3 years ago you suddenly went abroad. I thought you'd never come back. Ann's voice was so loud that even the reporters observing from a distance could hear every word clearly. After she spoke, I could feel curious eyes turning toward me. Turner family, eldest daughter, Peterson Corporation, engagement, obsessed with fiancé. Among those deliberately hushed voices, occasional fragments reached my ears. I glanced at Ann, who pretended not to notice and continued. You came back so suddenly without saying anything. Could it be because you heard? Miss Turner, I'm sorry. I misspoke. She cut herself off, seemingly realizing her blunder. But her panicked apology was clearly meant to encourage further misunderstandings. Some bold reporter had already shouted out, "We heard that Ben Turner, chief designer at Turner Jewelry, and Nelson Peterson, CEO of Peterson Corporation, are both planning to propose to you. Ms. Miller, is this true or false? Ms. Miller, if both Mr. Turner and Mr. Peterson propose at the same time, who would you accept?" And avoided answering directly, "Well, those are just internet rumors for now. I hope everyone can be rational about this. Besides, Ben and Nelson are both wonderful people. We're all good friends." The elevator opened at that moment. She bowed slightly with a smile and said, "I'm sorry, but I need to go upstairs to prepare for my speech at the Trotta Corp bidding conference." She asked me politely, "Miss Turner, would you like to go upstairs together?" I hesitated for just a moment, but when the reporters couldn't get answers from Ann, they immediately turned their attention to me. "Miss Turner, we heard that before you went abroad, you were obsessed with the CEO of Peterson Corporation. Did you suddenly return because you heard Mr. Peterson plans to propose to Ms. Miller? We heard Mr. Turner is your brother. Miss Turner, would you welcome Ms. Miller into your family? If Mr. Peterson really proposes to Ms. Miller, what will you do? Try to stop it or give your blessing?" Their eyes were hungry like wolves, their heavy breathing full of greed and urgency. Most reporters don't care about the truth, they only want something sensational. I knew if I didn't respond, within an hour, all kinds of speculation about why I returned would be all over the internet. Thinking of someone who tends to get jealous easily, I waved to Ann. "In that case, I'll go up first." Before the elevator doors closed, Ann's lips curled into a mocking smile that only I could see. I looked away and turned to face the reporters. Just as I was about to take out my invitation, an angry shout came from nearby. "Linda Turner, who said you could come here? Are you planning to steal Ann's projects again, like you did 3 years ago?" The cameras turned toward the sound. My former fiancé, Nelson Peterson, was striding toward me on his long legs, fuming with anger. 3 years later, nothing's changed, huh? Linda Turner, will you ever stop? I frowned slightly at Nelson's accusation. What do you mean? My former fiancé, who once promised to love me forever, now looked at me with nothing but disgust. Everyone in Berkshire knows that Trotta Corp plans to partner with Ann. If you're not here to steal her project, why would you suddenly fly back from abroad? Trotta Corp wants to partner with Ann Miller? How did I not know about this? My eyes widened with surprise, but Nelson mistook it for guilt at having my true intentions exposed. His disgust now mixed with contempt. "Do you still think you can push it around because you're a Turner? Trotta Corp isn't like the small businesses in Berkshire. They don't care about your family name. If you don't want to make a fool of yourself, you'd better leave." I pulled out my invitation and waved it in front of him. "Sorry, but I was invited to the bidding conference. You can't make me leave." "You'd better not." Nelson was about to threaten me when he noticed the reporters whispering nearby. A look of realization crossed his face, followed by a sneer. "Linda, I've told you our engagement is over. Please stop being obsessed with me. Whatever happens between Ann and me, there's no future for us. You've got it all wrong. I'm only here for the bidding. I'm already married, and I couldn't care less who you end up with." I spoke clearly, explaining to Nelson wasn't my main concern. I wanted the reporters to hear the truth. The reporters fell silent, but Nelson just laughed. "Linda, is this some kind of game? You think pretending to be married will make me jealous? Playing hard to get won't work. I don't care if you're married or not." "I know." I nodded and stepped into the elevator that had just arrived. As long as the reporters didn't spin tales, I didn't care whether Nelson believed me. As I pressed the close button, Nelson stepped in too. The elevator doors shut, leaving just the two of us in the small space. With a dark look, Nelson asked, "What will it take for you to leave?" I gave him a slight smile. "You don't trust Ann's ability very much, do you? How could you ever compare to Ann?" He smirked. After in signs with Trotta Corp, I'm proposing to her right there. I don't want you around to give her the wrong idea. My response was simple and cold. Congratulations. Can't you just stop? I know you're jealous, but you can't force love. This isn't good for either of us. His voice was tired but condescending. Look, if you leave now, I'll personally give you 2 projects from Peterson Corporation. I shook my head calmly. No thanks. His tone turned nasty. I'm only trying to protect Anne's feelings. Back off while you still can, or you'll end up with nothing. After that, I ignored everything else Nelson said. By the time the elevator doors opened, his face was red with anger. He stormed out and said one last thing to Ben Turner, who was waiting by the door, before marching off in his expensive shoes. Control your sister before she causes trouble. I looked at my biological brother and silently cursed my bad luck. I tried to walk past him, but he grabbed my arm as I stepped out of the elevator. Ben pulled me to a quiet corner and glared at me. What are you doing here? I answered flatly, bidding. This is ridiculous. Go home now, Ben scolded. Are you trying to repeat what happened 3 years ago and steal Anne's project again?